welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando, Monday, October the 7th, 7:44 p.m. Thank you so much for everyone that's live with us at the moment. Also, I wanted to thank everyone that's listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for everybody watching on Twitter, on YouTube, also on Loud and Proud Orlando. Subscribe. I do want to thank every single person who joined and subscribed. We had subscription algorithm the past few days because of the Pride, which we do want to start by congratulating the Orlando Pride for winning the NWSL Supporter Shield to Haley Carter and everybody, and Seb, a former Orlando City Lion and legend, and also Marta and women from definitely. It was a historic season for them. So I do want to thank all the Pride fans that literally joined. We were at 1,166 subscribers, and we're like almost at 1,100 and almost 75, 76. So we gained like almost 15 people in one day. So that is phenomenal. So thank you so much to everybody that joined. We are Loud and Proud Orlando. We are talking today about Orlando City. Orlando City is also on a roll, taking names. Their latest victim was FC Cincinnati, a really tough opponent. Everybody doubted this team in the beginning of the year. Everybody said, no, this is not happening. We're gonna probably not even gonna make playoffs. But here we are. Here we are. Like one of my favorite bands, Global Threat. You should definitely listen to them. Here we are is one of their records. We beat Cincy, man, and we beat Cincy in a really massive way. We beat Cincy at their own home, at their own TQL stadium. Beautiful stadium with a great fan base. I love I love that thing that they do when they hold hands and stuff. That is pretty impressive. And we'll talk about Cincy today. We'll dive into the review, ups and downs, MLS award nominees after over 4 seasons covering the MLS here in Loud and Proud. We, well, at least myself, I would say it's my first year. I'm actually gonna be able to officially nominate for the MLS awards, and we have a lot of Lions right there that are nominees. And we're gonna also check the MLS table, East table, which is I think the toughest conference to play on. John, my friend, how are you feeling after this back-to-back wins, man? That's phenomenal.
Well, I
Phenomenal.
mean,
Yeah, in Orlando,
yes.
Orlando.
Um, Saturday I was working, so I kind of was watching the game like sneakily at work as well, listening in on the radio. So that was cool. But I then got to watch the game like later at night when that was awesome. And then obviously yesterday, Sunday, I mean, an incredible day for Orlando Pride, lifting the shield, watching that in person was just amazing. So all the clubs doing well right now. I mean, we talked about all of them in playoffs. OCB the other day, sadly, I think they lost right to
Yeah.
Cincinnati, 3-2, I believe,
Hmm.
to Cincinnati too. But hey, still up there in the top of the table. Obviously, they're going to be in the playoffs. Orlando City are in the playoffs, and hopefully going to be in fourth and getting that home playoff advantage. And of course, Orlando Pride secured the shield. Amazing, incredible, are undefeated with 3 games left, and we'll also be having a home playoff game. So, I mean, it's like October, November. We're going to
Soccer
be
City,
spoiled.
man.
We're like, we've been going all year, Luis, and we still got like the most exciting part of the season to go. So, I'm ready. I'm excited. Yesterday was just the tip of the iceberg of what's to come for all of our clubs. I'm hoping for more success in the postseason.
Yeah, last year and this year, it's been, Copa America last year, you've had, the pride end run of their season, which was back to back wins. Then you got Orlando City finishing second. And then, this year it's also, again, the most prestigious run in NWSL history by a club like Orlando Pride, like winning, the Shield undefeated, with 3 games left. Like, it's crazy. And then you have Orlando City, definitely making strides to definitely be a playmaker in the playoffs. And we're gonna start analyzing Cincinnati, and let's read what Stream Jesus has to say, because that kind of goes with what I kind of wanted to talk about and ask you as well, John. The Stream Jesus says, "Have we talked about the ref? Papi is not happy with his refs, but he decided to keep it respectful. It takes a gangster to do that. Composure." There you go. Thank you, Stream Jesus. Um, I completely agree with Stream Jesus. I think the ref was terrible. I think it was he there was one goal that should have been a real goal, the one that he said that Ramiro, I don't know, I really can't recall very well right now, but
Oh yeah, well we'll get to that. I got some thoughts
yeah,
thoughts
it's
on
it's
that
it's
one,
it's
Louis.
it's and then you had the one that, you know the same goal that we got take they gave to DC United when the Benteke, like, the defender really hit Benteke, and then they give him a penalty. Against Orlando, it was a complete different decision for this ref, and he just let Cincinnati be completely kind. He definitely pardoned Kelsey. Kelsey, that dude was like fouling the whole entire first half. He was pissing our double pivot off completely. And yeah, I mean, obviously Oscar doesn't want to get that fine. It's October, Halloween. I'm sure he wants to maybe go take the wife to a nice dinner. Also, you have November, Thanksgiving. You gotta buy your turkey, right? You gotta make your Thanksgiving party, and then you got Christmas. So you don't want to get fined, money when your season's about to be over. So I totally understood that by him. But what are your thoughts, for starters, John, of this game?
Well, I mean, first of all, like the lineup came out, and I was like, "Yo, he went and did it. He put Muriel in from the start."
Yeah,
And of course, like the rest is predicted. Schlegel still in there. No Bercalo back. Kyle Smith still in for injured Dagger Dan. The usual lineup for us, and Duncan, like we talked about, was not going to be able to start because he was out for yellow card. So Enrique, of course. But Muriel being the big surprise in there, he only got a 6.4 rating on FootMob for this game. I feel like that's a little harsh. I mean, he wasn't incredible, but, in this match, but he was in there. He contributed for sure. So, I obviously, Ojeda not starting, probably just resting him
no,
is my
yeah,
first
yeah,
thought on that, Luis. And
it
then,
was resting.
I was like, yo, is Ojeda injured? Because I was
No, he
shocked.
mentioned it. He mentioned
And
it in the
then, yeah, and then
post
obviously
presser.
he
Yeah,
came on late, 87th minute, along with Jacqueline, which was nice to see. Jacqueline, like he
Jack Hammer.
Halliday got back on the field. So we're seeing more of these, like we
Jack
talked
Hammer.
about, some of these fringe guys getting in there, Luis. So that was great to see. Yeah, I mean, I think the lineup, you got to do some rotation when you got 3 games in a week, right? And I get the rotation was Muriel, and it worked. So that's my
Yeah.
first thoughts on the lineup.
Look, I totally agree with what you say. I do want to add that, to me, one of the MVPs, if not the MVP of the game against Cincinnati, is actually Cincinnati native Kyle Smith. Again, another solid game by Kyle Smith. I don't know if he felt motivated because his family was there. His whole entire family was there, which makes sense. But I mean, he looked like he was playing like a final, a playoff game. They 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 really, he was so good at working with Ramiro, to essentially linking up. He also put out that curler to Enrique, right? That gave Orlando the early lead, and also another assist to Ivan Angulo. So I mean, the dude really like stepped up when Dagger has been injured, and to me that's been one of the best news. Like when we first started covering, and we said, hey, we're gonna hit that slump of games with higher competition, higher level competition, as people call it, and people were doubting the team, saying, "Oh, we're not gonna make it, man. You gotta prove me. You gotta prove me. You gotta win against Philly, win against Cincy." And now we did that, right? And
I mean,
now,
surprisingly, I think, right? Like, I don't think a lot of people would have said we won those 2 games.
but now I hear a lot of sound of silence. I hear the sound of silence, dude. Like it's hilarious. But either way, I feel like this momentum is gonna help. And Kyle Smith, to me, and Muriel, the appearance of Muriel, have been key. Muriel against obviously Philly, Cincy. I don't know if I've honestly, I'm on board with a lot of people say that he's more of like a second half type of player. But Pareja wanted to give him the chance to start because Martin needed some rest. That's what he said. Martin needed some rest, and he obviously doesn't want him to have any sort of muscle fatigue in the middle of the playoffs. So, um, what do you think of Kyle Smith, John, the accountant?
I mean, yeah, they're talking about him in the, you know, Taylor Twellman's mentioned several times Cincinnati native Kyle Smith and told his whole story about how James O'Connor brought him from Louisville and that he's an accountant. And Kyle was talked about a lot. I mean, what an assist that is, man. It's that early cross was beautiful into Enrique there. I think it's Kyle, like we said a lot. He steps up when you ask him to step up, and he fills in when we ask him to fill in. When Dagger's back from injury, are we gonna want to keep Kyle in there?
No.
I'm not gonna say like that's and Kyle understands that, right? Like he has to understand that after 5 years of being, and they talked about how he was in the lower levels and he got a shot, and he's managed to make himself a very useful player, and he has these moments of really good. But is he going to be able to recreate that every game for you? No, and that's fine. Kyle is what he is, but when he does something like that, you're like, wow, that was really good.
if
Pat him
he
on the back because the guy is hardworking and he knows what to do and he does a good job.
if he would have the chance to write a book, his story will sell so much because it's
It's a
like
great story,
it's
yeah.
a phenomenal story, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
Lou,
but a lot of our most hardworking players have similar stories like
yeah,
that, like Jansen
yeah,
and the fact that, where he
Jansen,
came from and things. And
yeah,
like, there's a lot of that, like, oh, I didn't think I was going to
Angulo,
make it. And now I work
yeah,
extra hard that I have
correct.
made it.
It's like
That whole Oscar team is built on guys like
on
that a
work
lot of the
ethic.
time.
It's
Yeah.
all work
So
ethic.
we
Yeah.
need guys like that to balance out some of our players that perhaps don't do so much, hard working off the ball and defensive work and pressing and all that stuff that's not so fun as possessing the ball, etc. But yeah, Kyle Smith, this is a great game for him and an absolute incredible assist there. But I
Yeah.
also Enrique, you got to say, what a finish that is. He like karate kicks it into the
Phenomenal.
net on the he really reads the play well and makes those runs into the box and beats his last man. And
Also, his positioning, like
yeah,
the way he positions
a real
himself,
poacher's goal.
like he reads well the center backs, and he knows where their weak spots are, and he knows how to squibble in. Like he's so savvy at that, and that what makes him super dangerous, right? So let's read some comments real quick here. It says G Turtle, thank you so much, G Turtle. It says here, great game, good subs, got some players, so much needed game time against a good team. Yeah. I love Louis' impersonation of a toxic Orlando City fan, which they do exist. There you go, sir. Thank you. Appreciate that. David Eduardo Uribe Marquez says, Pineda, please ask John what he thinks about Peru and their next matches against Uruguay and Brazil. Hello from Canada. How you doing, my friend? Thank you from David. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit for sure about the internationals that actually Galese should be right now in a plane, going to escaping the hurricane and going to going to Lima. So he should be actually arriving tomorrow, more than likely, him and Cartagena. But either way, let's continue with the analysis. I believe another great player that to me stood up completely, you know, is Ivan Angulo. Ivan Angulo to me, um, that left flank, man. I mean, the way he just managing, he's been, his finishing is not being up to part, but I feel like just creating and generating an attacking play, it's definitely tremendous. And the fact that he's been the player that really has never gotten any rest, and he's played almost every single game, it's unreal. I don't know if there's any other player in Orlando City history that has done that, but obviously he owned Cincinnati's latest signing, which is Luca Orellano. I mean, he completely like I don't know if he did like a nutmeg or a back heel pass on him, but I mean the dude like it made him look made him look silly, completely silly. I don't know what your thoughts about Ivan Angulo, John.
Yeah, man. I mean, he had a much better game than what we've seen from Angulo recently, right? Like he got subbed out at halftime in the Philly game for a Muriel, and then in this game is out like him and Enrique were our best two players. They really like. I think a lot of the time our people are playing us and they're looking at Torres, they're looking at Ojeda, they're looking right, and they're like Enrique, yes, but Angulo they might give him a little bit more leeway. And in this one, he punished them. Like he had a great game, and the finish was a really good finish for him. I think like first time on the edge of the box, he gets that like bobbling finish. It goes underneath Celentano. Just a really good reactive strike on the edge of the box for him there. And then the third goal that we got was all him on the press, like just I mean a horrible mistake by their I can't remember who the player was. He just mispassed it. Was it Assad? No, I can't remember. But anyway, their player failed the back pass, and Angulo stole it, and then just he could have put it in, but he gave it to Enrique, which was like either one of them. They were like watching the ball go in on the line. But he really did a great job to steal the ball and play it right in front of Celentano to completely take him out of the situation entirely. And that's what he can do. He is that kind of player that is got that speed and he can punish defenses. He just needs to make sure that he's making the right decisions and that when he does get chances that his shot quality is on point. And in the games prior to this, that's not what we saw. But in this game, he was on point and he was finishing his chances. Maybe being subbed out, Luis, at the 45 against Philly, because Oscar rarely subs Angulo out. Like
Yeah.
definitely not that early, because Angulo's got like the fullest gas tank of anybody in the team, right? Like the guy just doesn't stop running. So Oscar feels comfortable to leave him out there for 90, where other guys might not be able to do that as often. So if I think the fact that he subbed him out was a real like maybe it was an eye opener. I don't know, but there was a reaction that can happen with players, and the reaction was good because Angulo killed it in this game.
Yeah, and the way, I don't know if people feel the same way, and we're gonna read the comments in just a second. Um, the way Angulo has this connection, close connection with Ramiro, like they kept hugging each other, they celebrated together. Like I mean, it's kind of like they're it's I mean they're definitely both a key part of the attack for Orlando City. So I do want to say, aside of Angulo, to talk a little bit about the bad, Cincinnati scored a goal on us, and that was, Lucho Acosta. Lucho Acosta in Boca, he would do magical things, and in the MLS, he's MVP caliber for sure. So, I mean, obviously, Orlando was hoping to get to halftime with the lead. But Acosta's like, hell no, that's not happening. And I do want to say that Faku, in my opinion, I don't know how you feel, John, he didn't mark him how he should have. If he was not going to contribute anything in the offense in this game, I feel at least on the defensive side, he still kind of struggles a little bit. especially with skilled players like Acosta. So he kind of snuck one into Galese and kind of had a couple of defenders in front of him, and then then it was kind of difficult for Galese to reach that phenomenal rocket that he threw, and gave him a lot of space to shoot. And it was 1-1 at the half, and I was like, oh my, okay, man, come on, man, like really, because I felt like the momentum was gonna be cut short at that point, but that I was completely utterly mistaken. So I don't know. What are your thoughts about Acosta's goal?
I think a few things. One, like we said with the pod last time, like we're not a clean sheet team for me
Yeah,
against maybe against teams that can't score at all. Like we'll clean sheet against the Revs because they just couldn't put it in. But against teams that can score, I think they're going to get one. And there's just these lapses, and this one I don't. I think it's a combination. I think Torres isn't quite close enough to Cucho, in my opinion. Like he picks him, I mean Lucho, he picks him up, but he doesn't really get close enough to him to prevent him to taking a shot. And then I think also Pedro gets a little bit caught, like trying to look. I think he's trying to move over so that he can see or
come on,
something. Like he goes, he's got to be in the middle of his
man.
goal, Luis. And I think if he's in the middle of a goal, he'll save that. So I think he got a little bit
I'm just joking.
positioning
I'm just joking.
out a little bit. I know. I looked at it several times, and they said it on the commentary, and I was like,
No, he
"Are
was
they
he
being
was
harsh?" But you do look at it;
no, 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 no,
he's
no. He's right.
minimally too
Yeah,
far over to
yeah,
the side, and
yeah.
Lucho
I
is and
agree.
it's an
Yeah, he's
incredible
skilled.
finish. Like you still like you
Yeah,
can't, and
yeah,
like I don't. It's not a bad thing or at all. It just sometimes keepers, it happens. You're
yeah,
positioned a little bit one left, and an incredible player will do that to you. Like this is the kind of thing that Messi will do to a keeper if he sees them not in the right
correct.
place, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Lucho's got that in his locker. I'm being very nitpicky about a very good goal. Let's say
No,
it like that. It was a very good goal, and it takes a lot to beat our defense a strike like that.
yeah, you're completely right on that, and yeah, I mean, Galese was a little bit out of position. I mean, that is 110% true. Um, you know, I just feel like, I mean, if he would have been, like you said, a little closer to the post where Acosta was gonna shoot, he would have gotten that. But let's read some comments real quick. It says here, Pineda, please ask Poppy when the hell he's gonna play Bruceff. The people are asking. He was ready with his headband. He looked sharp. He looked ready to
Yeah, I
go.
was trying to
And
find it in the highlights, Luis, but at some point they cut
yeah,
over to the bench and Bruce is there with
yeah,
his headband.
yeah,
And
with his
there's like it's a
headband,
bunch
right?
of young, it's like Petrasso, Bruce, it's like all the little
Yeah,
the young players waiting for Oscar to call on them on the bench.
it's coming. I'm sure it's.
I hope so. I'd love to see
you imagine
some
you imagine
some
if
Bruce.
Bruceff gives Orlando the goal to go to the finals or the semifinals,
Dude, it'd be
bro.
I just want to see Bruce come on for like 10 minutes against
And you
Atlanta or
imagine his
something.
celebration. He takes his headband off and he throws it at the
Please.
crowd,
This is my dream.
bro.
The
That's
Bruce like I want him to like take it off and fire it like an
amazing.
archer into the crowd.
Yeah.
That's his celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's
Angu-
just start by getting him on the field. That's a good.
yeah, there you go. This is Ramiro. Angulo and Ramiro have the Lewis and John type of connection. G Turtle, I forgot about Bruce until you just mentioned him. Yeah, I know, right? Because when I saw Felipe coming in, I'm 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 sorry, Felipe, but I'm like, come on, man. Come on, man. Like I think we should definitely um we should definitely
Like partly it's just us being silly, but also I'm
we
partly like,
should play Bruce.
why did we sign this guy in
We
the
should play
summer if
Bruce.
you're never gonna play him for the rest of the season? Like you could have just signed him in January, you know what I mean? Like, or just signed someone else. Like, we need a defensive mid. Like we talked about this, we need another defensive mid. Like he's bringing on Felipe again. I mean, you know, let's nice guy, but not like where's Heine? Where's Heine Bruseth? Bring him on,
I
please.
totally agree. Look, when Heine comes in, dude, people are gonna clap. I bet people are gonna clap. You imagine if Heine starts like doing actually starts doing some nutmeg, some starts tackling some people. You know what I mean?
I think
Recouping
it's
some.
more like he'll just come on and just
Right? You imagine
be
he
in the
takes over
game,
the
but
game.
I don't think he's gonna come on and change the game.
No,
If he does, then I love that. But
that'd be hilarious. That'd be
let's see.
awesome. But anyways, one thing that, and just to kind of end the analysis for Cincy, Orlando has scored over the last 7 games. Talking about a team that in the beginning of the year, people were like already throwing the towel and they were all like crying and saying that we don't score for S. We're the worst team in the MLS. And right now, the Lions have scored 19 goals in the last 7 matches. you know, it's one of those runs that I think they got something going. It's one of those runs that is different than other runs because I felt like Orlando, it's on and off, right? So they go into these little runs of 3 game winning streak and then they lost like 5-0. You know what I mean? And then they tie and then they go again into a 2 game winning streak and then they boom, they fall again. But in this case, 19 goals in 7 matches against Cincinnati, that they were honestly pretty clinical, as you mentioned, John, with that phenomenal goal by Ramiro and that shot by Angulo. 6 shots Orlando took on that game, 5 on target. Out of those five, 3 in the back of the net. 83% of shots on target and 50% of scoring. If the Lions or if Orlando City is as efficient as they have shown the past 2 or 3 games, I feel like they're definitely a contender in the playoffs. And
Yeah,
again,
I mean,
you can go and say, "Oh, he's talking shit," or "full of crap." He's a happy camper or whatever you want to call me. That's fine, but I mean, it's the data that's available right now. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, it's pretty impressive what they're doing, and I think the turnaround in this case, if it continues and it becomes constant, I think the playoffs could be very interesting for the Lions. I mean, they can definitely contend. I don't know what are your thoughts regarding that, John.
I think this game against Cincy, like, in my opinion, at this point in the league and with the playoffs, is as long as you're like a very good team in the league, it's all about whether you're hot and whether you're cold. And Cincy are cold right now. Like they've lost the last two before this. They were talking about in the broadcast, like they're lost there, like they don't know who they are. They lost some identity. They've had injured players. They've moved things around this summer. Some of it hasn't worked out. Blah 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 blah. So they're on a cold, right? And we are on a hot. And this is just what matters, I think, most when you go into the playoffs. And can we beat Inter Miami? Yes. If we are still as hot as we are and they cool off and have injuries and whatever, then yes, we can beat
Of
them.
course.
But, is everybody that we come up against going to be like Cincy were and a cold version of themselves? No. We're going to come up against another team like Columbus that are always hot basically, or just like always a challenge. And then it's going to come down to the fine margins, the little things. Like I think we've got ourselves in a position here where we can win it. Not saying
Mhm.
that we will win it, but we can win it. And that's at this point in the season, that's pretty much as best you can hope for.
Yeah,
If
like,
you're not winning the Shield, you want to go into the playoffs to the top four spot and looking hot. That's
yeah,
the ideal scenario.
I don't want to, like, I mean, this team was hyped since the beginning of the year. Tom Bogert, everybody is like, yeah, 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 oh yeah, yeah, Orlando City, yeah. And that's great, to get the press and all of that, and to get the pundits to talk about you and all that stuff. But clearly didn't happen, right? So Clearly, the Shield is not going to happen, but we ain't Real Madrid. We ain't FC Barcelona. We ain't in the caliber of even a River Plate. We are not. We're just not. We're Orlando City. We got to know where we are. And right now, where we are and where we stand right now is some really good, firm ground to build something important. And it's just we need to continue and go game by game with that humility and that humbleness that they showed. The players, coaching staff, like they're very, game by game, and then just go for it. And it will happen. I mean, they're gonna have to slay a couple of beasts, like you said, Inter, Columbus, Cincinnati, NYCFC right now, which NYCFC has gotten our number, Columbus has gotten our number tremendously. So these are, yes, but again, we have to know. Yes, I'm sure fans would like to win the the Club World Cup, for Orlando City to win the Club World Cup. Well, but we also have to know that those are Cinderella stories that happen once in a lifetime. You know what I mean? Like, we have to be realistic here. You know, um, Step by step. And I feel like Orlando is in a good position right now. And let's see. They're gonna have the 2 week break. They could poop the bed against Atlanta, right? And then everybody's gonna say, "Oh my God! Like, in the playoffs, we're gonna lose." And then boom, we get the playoffs and we win our playoff, the first playoff game. So we just gotta be a little bit more understanding of the situation at that point. Now, I feel like against Atlanta, I don't know what do you think. Cartagena is gonna miss time. He's not gonna play against Atlanta. Yellow card accumulation, John. Maybe we see Bruseth in that game.
Yeah,
I mean, Orlando
yeah.
clinched
I
already.
think it's gonna be
I mean, Orlando,
nah,
Orlando,
but yeah, but
Orlando has, or Orlando. Actually, no. Orlando has to clinch against Atlanta. They
yeah.
have to
This
win
is the
to
thing.
clinch.
Like, yeah, obviously we got
You
two
want?
weeks between
You
that
want?
game, so we'll talk more about it next week. But just to give you an idea, like, yeah, New York City playing Montreal, who weirdly are like in the shout for a playoff
There
spot
you go.
now. So
Yeah,
that's a tough game for them because Montreal are going to be
man.
doing their best. But yeah, if they could get up into fourth position if we lose and they win. So we gotta if we tie, I think we're still up there. Yeah, because it goes down to games won, which is the tiebreaker, and we've won more games, I believe. Yeah, so basically we just gotta get a tie or a win against Atlanta. Hopefully a win. Probably a win, I think. Atlanta are now down in 12th. They kind of have a shot at playoffs, but not really. So yeah, there is somewhere on the line. I would think it's going to be Kaczewski, but like I said, we'll talk more about
Yeah, I mean, I agree with
Atlanta
you.
next week.
I agree with you. I think it's part of, obviously,
I
you know.
just want to see Bursith, but I don't know. I think at this point it's throw him on for 5 minutes at the end of a game in the playoffs if we're comfortable or whatever. I don't think Oscar's gonna put him in any situation where he has to be reliable. I don't see it at this late, knowing Oscar.
Now, knowing Oscar and going into the Oscar talk, before we go that, let's read some comments real quick. It says, "A new line, a new beginning, stream Jesus, Pride or Die. Just stopping by to say Vamos Pride." There you go, Pride or Die. Pride or Die. "Hey, bro, so peeps on the live. Go check out some Pride games." There you go. Thank you, Pride or Die. Appreciate it. Tomorrow is a historic day for the Pride Pod, so appreciate your support. Alex Yu, second game on the road. Orlando in the last 15 minutes switched to 5 defenders. Cartagena became the extra central defender, and that worked well against Philadelphia and Cincinnati. Yes, that's amazing. Yeah, that's great. Now, going to what Alex said, and Jeffrey says, "Pack your bags, Luis, and head to Indigo Stadium." There you go. I have a tent there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Go
for
sleep in
sure,
the West Club, bro. It's
for sure.
safer
Yeah,
than
for sure.
Tampa.
Hopefully, they left a bottle of vodka there. I can definitely drink by myself. Yeah, but anyways, um, yeah. So let's talk about Oscar Pereja. So Oscar Pereja, I mean, look, it's common sense. I mean, him and his staff are in charge of the good momentum and the pride is the pride. I mean, the city is having right now. I mean, the turnaround rests on Oscar. Now, in the beginning of the season, people said, "Oh, he's too defensive. Oh, he's not a good coach. It's repetitive. We're not gonna make it. We're not gonna win the big one with him." Blah 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 blah. But I think he's really proving a lot of these things. He's kind of throwing them as folklore, as folk tales. I think he's like that thing that Alex just mentioned about switching to five defenders when there's like competition that makes substitutions that are dynamic players like Cincy and Philly have. Um,
But if
it
you remember, the
really helped.
five
It
back,
really helped the Lions. I mean, it really helped them.
yeah, but if you remember, the five back is something we did
Yeah,
earlier in the
it
season.
didn't
We did
work
it
though
last season
in
too.
the
Like it didn't
beginning.
work as well, but Wilder was always good in that role.
Yeah,
So I think he just said, "Look, I can't use it all the time, but like it's great that he can see okay, and it's going more defensive without going more defensive in the sense that you're adding a defender in, but we're not like all sitting back. You're just adding
yeah.
more numbers in the part of the field where you don't want to have, be outnumbered. So I think it's good. I think it works well. I think it's just a case of he's smart about knowing what to do against the right opposition. Like he is a good tactical manager and he has adapted, right? I think a couple of years ago, we would have said Oscar's like really defensive and he doesn't want to do. And the kind of soccer that we play now is really a free flowing, attacking, possession style soccer. And it's different from what Oscar was, I believe, years ago when he first started out. Like I think that initially it was like, okay, we're just getting beat up on. So he
Mhm.
he spent a lot of time making us very defensively solid and now we've got that defensive base, but we add on it with the attacking flair and creativity up front. And I,
Yeah,
I think it has developed. I think that just the beginning of the season hurt us, and I think that people were right to be upset. Like we weren't happy either,
of
but
course.
we said keep faith with it and it's going to come good. And 2 years in a row, that's been true. So let's just see, like in the playoffs. I think if we get to the playoffs and we go out early, everyone's going to be on the Oscar
Yeah,
out train
pissed
again.
off.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
oh,
they are.
yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
they will. And some people will be like, "Yeah, I'm fed up with this. I want to roll the dice with someone better," and other people will not. Like it just depends how you view a successful season, right?
And
I
how
think
you view
I
how
think
you
us
view
going
how you
into the
view the
playoffs
sport as
hot is
well.
is good. Let's see, last year we lost to the reigning champs because one of our players got sent off in a key game. Now, that could not happen in this playoffs, right? Luck could be on our side. We could go into it hot. Other teams could start falling apart. So many things could happen. We don't know.
Right now,
Like we've put ourselves in a good position 2 years in a row now, and that has to come down to Oscar getting the most out of this team throughout the season.
no, no, wholeheartedly, and I do want to say, I mean, he's still a top three coach in the MLS. Um,
Records show that he's got like I think top
he's,
4 win
I
ratio in
think,
MLS.
yeah, I mean, he's at least a top three coach in the MLS. I mean, that whole confrontation that he had with Pat Noonan, I was gonna ask you about that too. That whole confrontation with Pat Noonan, I'm like, these are two really good, successful coaches in the MLS. These are two coaches that turned around franchises. If you think about it, in the nitty gritty of the situation, Pat Noonan turned around F Cincinnati's fate when he took over, and Oscar did the same thing with Orlando. And I feel like, seeing them kind of argue about this, it's I think it's part of the game, but I did feel a lot of respect from each one of them at the end of the game too. They both didn't really want to discuss too much about that. They said, it's just part of what happens in a game. We're both passionate coaches, coaching staffs, and they felt some type of way. I felt some type of way. I'm not gonna back down. He's not gonna back down. So it just those are things that happen in the heat of the moment, and that's what Pat Noonan said. And then Oscar also said that he respected Pat Noonan. So you know, it is what it is. But I do want to say I have a feeling Oscar's gonna definitely stay in the club. Uh, whether and again, it's how you want to take your club and how do you want to treat your club. I mean, if you
Well,
want
this
it
is the other thing. It doesn't matter what the fans think at the end of the
right,
day. It matters what the Wilfs think and what the
correct,
ownership group
right. I
and the
mean,
board want to do
that's exactly what you
based
want to
on
do.
like any job. Oscar has parameters that he's supposed to meet. If he's met those parameters and they're happy, they'll
Yeah,
keep him on. If he's not met them,
yeah,
then
he'll
we'll
go.
be talking a different situation
Yeah, and
next season. But I think more than likely the ownership will be happy with
yeah,
our results this year and
I
being and
agree.
I know some fans will say that's not ambitious enough. That's not but I think it's like I said, it's a case of okay, are you coming from a point of view of like if we don't win anything, that's a failure? Or are you coming from a point of view we want to grow year on year, progressing towards winning something,
Towards something important.
building on building, making ourselves more improved each year. Now, some people would say it's taking too long. You know, there's lots of arguments, but like I'm saying, it all
It's true.
depends.
It's true.
It all depends on the ownership's point of view, the parameters, all those things. Luis Musi obviously is a massive part of this as well. Like
Yeah.
they'll evaluate him, his contract, Ricardo Moreira. This is all part of like, are we happy with our GM? Are we, so many questions. Are we happy with
No,
the players, DPs, etc. It's not just as cut and dry as like, yes or no on that. I
no,
also, Luis, wanted to ask you about we didn't talk about it in the highlights, but the horrible non-goal that should have been called because this one I like literally I didn't see it at the time, and then when I saw it back in the highlights and you listen and you hear what they were saying, it's just crazy to me because Celentano is not even looking at Luis Muriel and he runs
no.
into him straight full block. So in what world is they're like, oh,
Is
and
that a
Caleb
foul?
Feldman's like Muriel steps into Celentano. I'm
That's
like,
that's
Celentano literally is looking the other way until he turns around and bumps into him. Like, it's the definition of bumping into somebody, and it's
yeah.
completely his fault. It's not blocking the keeper. So
Orlando should
I
have
think
won
that's a
four to
legit
one.
goal. I think that's a terrible call by
Yeah.
MLS.
No, 110%. Celentano. I know Celentano's face looks startled. I mean, he already he already looks like he's like.
He looks like that all the time, man. He's like a
Right,
lost
right, right,
puppy.
right. He looks startled the whole time. He looks like, yeah, right, right. That's what I'm saying. He looks like, but I mean, yeah, I mean, he's a great keeper. I do want to say, but in this scenario, that should have been a goal. I mean, and that's the thing that, and again, this is the thing that the MLS needs to get a little
It's
better
probably
at.
what made Oscar so mad.
Joe Oscar was so pissed off because I mean, you're talking about Kelsey. Kelsey was literally trying to injure someone. And then I don't know if he was sent by because it happens, man. I mean, we're sugarcoating things here, or I don't know, but it happens in the
Yeah,
sport.
players are told
Coaches say,
go after this
"Hey,
guy, go after that
Kelsey,
guy.
go after this guy, f him up, man." Like, and it happens. It happens in the highest of clubs,
It
in
was
the
happening
lowest
to
of
Barbara
clubs.
Banda last night.
It happened to Barbara Brandon last night. Yeah, 110%. So that's what Kelsey was doing the whole entire time. And the dude's like hesitating. He's like, I'm gonna give you one more chance, one more chance, one more chance. I was like, get out of here with your one more chance, dude. Like he's about to seriously injure somebody, and then what's gonna happen? Then we're screwed in the playoffs. So I just felt like Oscar
And
was
he was on a yellow card, Kelsey, in the 35th minute. So the ref was just didn't want to send him off. He should have.
eh, it says there's some comments here. Jorge Torres dice, "Vamos Orlando, no entiendo inglés. Soy el padre de Facundo Torres." Oh, look, it's Facundo Torres' dad. Entonces, vamos Facundo. No, un gran abrazo, señor Torres. Un gran abrazo, señor Jorge. Eh, you know, Facu is an important part of also the puzzle for Orlando City for sure. So definitely, uh, a massive part of this turnaround for the team. But
It was a rare for Faku not to score in this one, like he's been on such a hot streak recently. This is
you know,
but hey, he's always adding whenever he's in the game.
y le voy a decir al señor, tengo la oportunidad de decirle en español, Bielsa se va a arrepentir. Ha sido convocado ahora Facundo para Uruguay y yo creo que Perú la va a tener difícil. Y yo la va a tener difícil. Ojalá que se le pueda dar los goles a Facundo también con la Celeste. Un gran abrazo, estimado Jorge. Eh, I do wanna just go back into what we are talking about, Oscar. Oscar, it was an important piece of the puzzle in the past few games too. Him and his coaching staff. I mean, just the whole part of the set pieces, in my opinion, too, have been intricate and have been important. The set pieces, the revival of Muriel, right? And I don't know how you feel about Muriel being a starter. I felt like
I think it was just a rotation or
rotation
hate a
thing. No,
thing.
I agree too,
Yeah.
but obviously people expected the Muriel that we saw with the two assists, but that's not going to happen all the time.
But that's the thing, like this game, but he got the pass to
Correct.
he
I
was like
agree.
the pass to Kyle that then went to, so he's like part of the buildup. He just wasn't a direct assister in this one. But I do think he looked tired early. Like it was he came off in the 73rd, but he could have come off like in the 50th minute kind of thing. Like I think we are happy with what he's producing when he's on the field, but I don't want to put too much pressure on this Muriel because I think it's still a work in progress. I don't think it's like, okay, now we can hang our hat on him and rely on him to be the 90-minute, going to always find the right pass, score the goal kind of guy. That's Faku. That's who that is right now for us. And Ojeda is the starting number 10, I think. And I think that Muriel will get his minutes off the bench, and perhaps just like we say sometimes Duncan's more effective off the bench. I think that probably applies to this Muriel right now as well.
Stream Jesus says, Luis, be safe, bro. I know that you're on the west side of Florida and the hurricane is no joke. You always invitado a mi casa. Thank you, my friend Stream Jesus. It says here, you too, John. If the power goes out, come to my house and get whooped on EAFC 25.
Yo, get on that rush. We'll get some rush going. How about that?
Look at that. Jeffrey, oh, you mean heaven? There you go. And again, I want to say hello to Jorge Torres. Thank you, estimado. So diving in into, we were going to dive in into right here, MLS award nominees. I don't know if you want to share your screen, John. I don't know if you have that available. Um,
I
MLS
don't, but I will pull it up.
Yeah, if you could pull it up, that'd be great.
Yeah.
MLS awards nominees. Um, I've been covering the MLS for, it's gonna be 4 seasons. Um, and honestly, like I'm honored, I'm humbled because it's the first year that I actually get the email from MLS directly and says, "Hey, thank you for your coverage, and we want you to vote for the MLS nominees." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, we want you to vote." So LPO is going to vote. Our vote's going to be counted. So we're legit, guys. I feel like we're legit. Like now a legit outlet. So it's fantastic. I think there's a lot of Lions that are being nominated for the MLS for different nominees. I believe it's um, Hold on one second. Oh, there's 9 Inter Miami players. I'm sure you know that, John, right? Now, there's the full list of MVPs. MLS.com has it, and I do want to say Facundo Torres. He's being nominated for the best player in the MLS. Landon Donovan, MLS MVP.
I got it right here.
Yep. Let's go ahead and there you go.
Alrighty. So we got the Atlanta Donovan MLS MVPs. I mean, anybody. I mean, the usual suspects, like right, Louise. I mean,
Benteke, Arango, yeah,
there's no one here
Acosta,
that
Lucho.
really surprised me. From us, Martino Ojeda
There you go.
and
And Facu
Facundo
Torres.
Torres. I mean, Facu has put up some great numbers this year, but has he put up Evander level numbers? No.
No.
I would be voting for Evander if this was me, Luis. I think he has scored some incredible goals. And if you look at that Portland team that are not, you'd expect him to be a lot better. He's really carrying them in lots of ways. So I think that for me often shows like a really impressive MVP candidate if they're at a team that's not doing so well and they're still putting up those kind of numbers. So him, I think, would be one for me, but I don't know for you, Luis, who you'd like to vote for on this. I think Facu is, as much as I think it's nice that he's in there. I think it's a stretch to say that he's MVP of the league this year.
Look, I'm a dreamer. There's 8.36 million, according to the last census of 2020, 8.36 million people in Central Florida.
Wow.
And I think
But
if
they don't get to vote, right? So it's just the media voting. So it doesn't
out
work
of
that way.
those,
It doesn't work that way, Luis. We don't
out
get a
of
vote.
those, I know that everyone in the Orlando City Brethren that's right there in the media that gotten the email will vote for Facu. I will do my due diligence to vote for Facu.
Yeah, of
But
course.
obviously, you just have to understand this is all about market.
I mean, I think there's
And
one person who's very obviously going to win this. I think,
yeah, who do you
and
think it's gonna be?
probably shouldn't, but it'll probably be Messi just because the
Yeah,
media will vote
it's gonna
Messi
be.
because they won the Shield or something. I mean, yeah, I would be voting Evander. That would be my shout. I mean, Benteke is a hell of a
No,
season.
Evander has been great.
Yeah, Luciano was a
If
great
it was
season.
me, it would be Peck. Peck, I don't know if he's there, but
No, no
no,
Peck.
he's not there. Well, Peck is
Ricky
great.
Puig had a pretty decent
Ricky
season.
Puig, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Look,
yeah,
look. All I'm saying is the MLS still sees Orlando as a small market, whether we want to or not. And also, but you have to understand, like, how does Orlando play? Orlando looks for players, and I already mentioned this. They are a team. They're building a culture, and Oscar mentioned something that is very important for that kind of describes what Orlando is right now. I want my players to not only go forward, but every single player, including the striker, needs to defend. Defending is an intricate part of my job, or my style. That's what Oscar said. So in a way, it makes kind of sense why Muriel kind of didn't fit in, because in Italy for so many seasons he's just been the poacher goal, the poacher striker, and never really like just thread back to run, and get the ball back. And now he has to, and now we see him do that, be a little bit more defensively savvy, and trying to take the ball, out of, play a little bit more defensive minded. But before that, it didn't happen. The same thing happened with Martin when he first came on the team. The same thing happened with Facu when he first came in the team, and all these South American players that came into the team. It's just the way Oscar tries to install the way he wants the team to play. And so let's say you bring a Neymar to Orlando City. He has to be ready to, the Neymar is not gonna defend for shit. To be honest with you, I mean that left flank, he's just gonna go and try to go for the goal. He ain't gonna defend. So I feel like Orlando, it's more predetermined to get players that are more ingrained with the culture of the city, more than just name recognition. And so because of that, and because already people kind of downplay it as a small market, obviously LAFC, Inter, and all of that are going to get a higher, higher eyes, or more eyes into the product, because they feel like those are more profitable cities in that scenario. And it's where we are geographically. It's up to us to change that course of history. you know um could it happen? Yes, 110%. But I feel like Faku is a diamond in the rough. I still feel like Faku has a long way to go. Can you believe Faku Torres, he's like so young, man. He's 24 years old, dude. Like he's 24, man. He was born in 2000s. He was born when Nelly came out with country grammar, man. Like,
Yeah,
when Ashanti used to be big, and Fat Joe.
for sure.
Now, Lil Jon, and the East Side
Should
Boys.
we look at the Coach of the Year nominees?
Sure, yeah.
So we got the Siggy Schmidt MLS Coach of the Year nominees.
Okay.
Everyone just voted their own. I think this is stupid, in my opinion. Like, what? How can
Papi,
Coach of the Year be
Oscar,
be from example like Exhibit A, right? Like, who's
Papi in.
terrible in this list? Like Toronto, no. Like John
No, no,
Herdman,
no, no
get out
way.
of town. Or John Herdman, like they're not even in the playoffs. Like there shouldn't be 8 or 9 teams in the playoffs. And
He's
if your
kicking
team is
himself.
like Montreal, like they just everyone votes for their own coach, of course. Like
Yeah.
this should not be one, in my opinion, that they ask for, the clubs to vote on to nominate. I think that should just be nominate from the media, in my opinion, because that's just stupid. But anyway, that's all of them. Oscar, I I don't think he's gonna win that
Make
either.
sure make sure you
Um,
guys vote for Papi in.
MLS Newcomer of the Year nominees. We have no one in this. I guess we thought,
No newcomers?
well, maybe Bruseth will get on the field and then we'll nominate
No,
him.
no.
I'm just saying that's why we don't have anybody, because we don't play our newcomers. Anyway, MLS Young Player of the Year nominees. Um, yeah,
We have
here we
no one
go.
there either. we have
No
we
one
have
there.
we have defender of the year,
No one
baby.
there. Yeah. Quinn Sullivan's there. Jack
I
McGlynn.
mean
You
that's
know,
something that we need to get better, guys.
next season I want to see Alex
Yeah,
Freeman or Yutaro or whoever on this list, please. MLS Defender of the Year
there you go.
nominees. Here's one, but I don't think we're gonna win this either. Like
No,
Dagger in here, I love that, but and Jansen, but our first half of the season was defensively horrific.
one
So
of the worst defenses
arguably,
in the MLS for sure.
none of our defenders should be
Yeah.
winning Defender of the Year. Just subjectively, being honest.
Who would you vote for? Yeah, for
From
defense.
this, phew, I don't know, man.
Look,
It's
is
hard.
Walker Zimmerman there?
No, I mean probably is. Yeah, no, he's not.
He's not.
No. I mean it's hard to say on this one, man. I
Yo,
don't
what's
really.
the Andrew Jedlin doing there? Come on,
Yeah, I mean,
man.
this is what I'm saying. Like,
I'm sorry, bro.
it'll
Like
probably be an
he got
Inter
clobbered by
Miami.
Orlando.
It'll probably be one of their, probably Jordi
Who?
Alba or something. I
That's a
bet.
look.
I
That's a
bet.
joke, man. I mean, if you're gonna use this just for Jordi Alba, come on, dude.
I mean, I think it's, yeah.
It's a joke.
There's this list. Like, I'm trying to think about defenders this year that like really stood out and were amazing. And um, I mean, was there a lot of center back goals? Were there fullbacks that were particularly incredible?
I'll say Sergi Palencia, LAFC was great.
Yeah,
Sergi Palencia,
yeah. Melanda was no,
Ma-
no.
mm,
No, I'm struggling on this one. I gotta say.
Where's the Philly one?
Well,
These
they
ones
had a
right here?
horrible season. No,
No.
I
Yeah.
mean it's got to be a
Bro, why is
a
San Jose
Columbus.
earthquake?
It's got
Why
to
is San
be like a
Jose?
Columbus center
But
back or a Miami center
but
back or
why is San
something,
Jose earthquakes in this? Like they have the worst defense in the league.
or
What do
like
you?
it's gonna be like LAFC center back or something, or like a Galaxy center back. Anyway, that one, and then goalkeeper of the year,
Don't
um,
tell me, my boy.
El Pulpo.
There you go. We have to all
Again,
go. We have to
this
all
one,
go.
like everyone just votes for their own goalkeeper.
Look, look. Let me see that list right there.
I mean, Drake Calendar is gonna win this. I think.
Look, Drake. But who?
I think it's just all Inter Miami players winning
I'm
all
just
of
saying.
these.
I'm just saying, and I'm gonna say with all due respect, does he
Yeah,
play for a national team?
Drake Count. No,
So he
no way. He
hasn't.
does, right?
Has he?
He's been
Has
in and
he?
out.
Has he ever played a World Cup?
I mean, Zach Steffen came in and did not light the world on
Yeah,
fire like people thought he would. Um, Kalina had a pretty good season for Charlotte, I'd say. Hugo Reese probably an option. Who else had a good year?
probably Lloris.
Celentano could
Probably
be,
Lloris.
maybe. I think it's
Probably.
still. I think it's going to be Inter Miami. I think they're just going to give it to all the Inter Miami.
No, are you
Yeah.
really gonna?
No, I
Are
think
you
it is.
gonna? Are you gonna tell
Yeah.
me, John, that Inter's
Yeah.
gonna win every single nomination? I'll be
Look,
damned,
man,
dude.
it's a popularity contest, and we've seen it. It works both with the public and the press, in my opinion.
Bro. Let me tell
I
you,
don't see it any other way.
bro. Gales is 30 million times better than Drake Calendar.
But they'll just say Drake Calendar won the Shield. So, anyway, the Audi Goals Drive Progress Impact Award nominees: Felipe for Orlando City. Maybe we'll win that. I'm not kidding. Felipe does a lot. He's awesome. He's really good. He's amazing in the community. So
No, I'm
I'm
sure.
not. That was not a joke. I genuinely
No,
think we could.
this guy.
Felipe could win that. Like we don't know. I don't know how they judge this one. It's obviously all done on a player who showed outstanding dedication to charitable efforts and serving the community. Felipe is a wonderful person in the community.
Podcast of the year. Is there one?
No, sadly not. There was. We did get nominated by Alonso. He nominated us for the ones that they do for.
Oh,
Yeah, that was nice of him.
that was
But we
nice.
didn't win anything
We
else.
didn't win.
It's like all of the MLS content
Oh,
for
all the MLS podcast. Oh wow.
everything to do. So it was like Eli Lesser and Kavincho and like all these. There's the guys that are winning those.
The what's the tactical
MLS
manager?
referee of the year nominees. Luis, you should vote on this one. Do your research. Do your
Well,
research and vote for the least offensive ref.
I will never vote for a Guido. That's what I'm
You could
telling
also
you.
vote for the assistant ref of the year. So how exciting! Love it.
Maybe Hanson, good band. Could have
Yeah,
like chicks.
yeah. But I'm not hopeful for any wins for us in this one, Luis. I gotta say,
This
and
should do a. This should
that's
do
it.
a.
So the end of
A.
the year awards are determined via voting from 3 groups, each 1/3. So the MLS players get to vote, the MLS club technical staff get to vote, and
Vote
then
for yourself,
select
guys.
media members representing local and national outlets who consistently covered the 2024 MLS regular season. Luis Carlos Pineda. There you go. So congrats. And voting will open October 7th, Luis. So it's opened. And it will
Yeah, it's
conclude
open.
on the
Yeah,
21st. So you got
I have
till
to. I have
shortly
to.
after decision day. So what sucks about this is really I would like to like include playoffs, but I guess it's regular season is how they, the awards are regular season awards. So there you go. That's everything on MLS awards. Do you want to end the show by looking at the
Yeah, sure. Let's read some
Eastern
comments real
table?
quick before we go. This is here. Congrats, Luis. Thanks for doing it for the Lions. Thank you, Stream Jesus. Jorge Torres, una promesa que tengo es cuando vuelvo a Orlando voy a ir a tocar esos tambores si se puede de la gran hinchada de Orlando. He says, once I come back to Orlando, I would like to play the drums with the supporters. That's what he said. He would love to do that.
He wants
So
to go in the wall. I love
yeah,
it.
he wants to go on the wall. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And you
Yeah,
can watch
man,
you can watch Baku score a goal
for
and hit the
sure.
drum.
That'd be
Love that.
amazing. That'd be
See,
amazing. I think. I'm sure. I'm sure.
I
Estoy,
I think they would make an accommodation for the father
ya,
in the Torre.
estoy seguro, señor Torres, de que si está escuchando, si usted le dice a Facundo que hable con el club lo va a hacer que eso sea posible. David Eduardo Uribe says, Congrats for that, guys. Says a G Turtle. Felicitaciones a Luis y a LPO. San Jose, Coach of the Year. Because G Turtle.
Yeah, like, come on, what's that
Yo,
about?
why is San Jose? No, Defender of the Year, bro. The
Yo, it's
most goals
wild.
allowed.
Coach of
Like,
the
come.
year is wild.
Stream Jesus Calendar went to Europe with Duncan to play in the Olympics. Come on, man. Ooh, come on, bro. Okay, he went to the,
Yeah.
but to what? To pass the Gatorade
Well,
because
Schulte played, I think, most of the games with Schultz,
exactly. Schulte
so
played the whole.
Schulte is a much better keeper. But anyway, it doesn't matter. If you're on
Not
Inter
sure if
Miami, you're gonna get an award.
not sure if he started, but he did go. Come on, man. You know what I mean? The Highlander went to pass the Gatorade. But anyways, there you go. We got the table right there, John. I don't know if you want to zoom it in a little bit. There you go.
So, we are on 52 points. New York City FC right behind us on 50 points.
Shit.
So yeah, in a good position. We just got to make sure that we win our last game against Atlanta, and then secure. Of course, we did gain. It was nice. It was a 6 pointer. We gained on Cincinnati, but they're stuck in third. Columbus stuck in second. Like everyone's only we can move here really, and then below us. I mean, the playoff picture. This is very interesting down here. Um, Charlotte comfortably in the playoffs. New York Red Bulls comfortably in the playoffs. There's a situation here on the final day
And this is
where Philly
that is
are trying to
crazy.
sneak in. I mean, you've got DC on 40 points in eighth place. Of course, it's the eighth and ninth that play off in that play in game, right? To get in the playoffs. So you're still not guaranteed in, but eighth and ninth is the positions you get in, so you can get into that game. And we got DC and Montreal both on 40 points in eighth and ninth. And then on 10th, we've got Toronto on 37. And 11th, you got Philly on 37. And then you got Atlanta also on 37 in 12th place. So if these teams win and these teams lose, you could end up with 5 teams finishing on 40 points. And then it all comes down to, I believe, the first
Goal
tiebreak
difference.
is it's not goal difference. It's
No?
games won. Yeah, MLS is weird, dude.
What?
Yeah,
What kind of crap is that? It should be Philly.
yeah. I don't believe it is. I gotta double check. Let's see.
That is stupid, man.
The MLS
Lev-
tiebreakers
Wow.
competition guidelines. I just gotta double check what they are. Yeah. Point
G, Tur-
system.
G Turtle says this season is the MSL, Messi Soccer League. Yeah. After he retires, then everything will go back to normal. Did you find it?
Now, yeah. Give me a minute. I gotta look it up and see exactly what the tiebreakers are in order.
But Atlanta, it is a derby. So I believe that, playing at home with the home crowd, I think that's going to definitely going to motivate the players. I do want to say that after, there's going to be international duty, and Facu is going to face Pedro and Wilder because Peru is going to be playing Uruguay in Lima. So Facu is actually going to be traveling to Lima. I don't know if he's going to get together with Pedro beforehand or with Wilder, but they're all three of them are going to be in Lima, and they're going to face each other. Obviously, Uruguay, the better team, and with a higher momentum. And it seems that Uruguay may be having Facu play some minutes in the second half, so we're going to be seeing a Facu goal against Galese. That'll be so weird to see. or to witness. But John, I think you got it now, right?
Yeah. So tiebreakers on MLS table. In the event of two or more teams finish the MLS regular season with an equal number of points or points per game, the following tiebreakers will be used. If the standard points per game is used, the tiebreakers will be calculated on a per game basis. So, number one, total number of wins. So, yeah, not goal difference. Number two, goal difference. Number three, goals for. And then it gets into some really crazy stuff that I don't think we'd ever
What a way of
get down to
the MLS,
disciplinary points and away
the
goals. But
MLS make it so weird,
yeah, total number of it's just very, very strange. So if we go
so
back to
weird.
our table, which I don't know where I put now, here it is. Back to our table. Yeah, I mean that means let's have a look at who's got wins here. We're talking, yeah, Atlanta. I mean, Philly got a lot of wins. I think probably more. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a tight day. We'll have
Now,
to see.
who can Orlando City face if they go? If, let's say they beat Atlanta and they stay on the fourth
I mean,
spot.
we got till October 19th, Louise, which is crazy. We got
So it could be Toronto
yeah,
potentially.
and they are out. Muyumba, Westberg, Silver. We got Cartagena on suspension and our injuries, as we know. So we'll talk more about that next week.
For
For
sure.
sure.
It says G Turtle. This season is the MSL Messi Soccer League. Anthony Solis. I think Toronto has finished their season with 34 games. Anthony Solis. In my opinion, I would much rather play against Charlotte than NYCFC in the playoffs. 110%. I think they're
I mean,
both.
we finished fourth. We'll play whoever's fifth. So, really, it's going to be probably New York, like most likely, I think.
Hopefully,
Could be Charlotte, but
hopefully they
more
pull that
likely
out
New
for
York City.
him like they did last year. He's a great defender. Looks like he was happy when they did. Yep.
Charlotte played DC on their last game, who are in eighth. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a very interesting playoff decision day.
Yeah, I would rather. I agree with Anthony. I will like. I'd rather play with Charlotte than NYCFC.
I think as long as we're at home, I don't mind playing New York because they don't have the advantage of worst
Of
case
the pitch.
scenario, absolute worst case scenario. We are in fifth and they're in fourth. That sucks because then we got to go play in stupid baseball stadiums twice.
That's stupid. But anyways, it's been an eventful city pod today. We discussed the massive win that Orlando City had against Cincinnati. We beat records today as well. About 118 people live right now, John, with us. So thank you so much for your support.
Thank you,
We
everybody.
we are Loud and Proud Orlando. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, it will help us tremendously to for you to subscribe and watch us through YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're available on audio form as well. We're on X at LP_podcast, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as Loud and Proud Orlando. I do want to say that tomorrow we got the Pride Pod, so be ready to have a massive celebration. I may drink a little vodka tonic.
I think I need to get the champagne out, man, and pop.
Exactly.
I'm gonna
That's what
pop a
I'm gonna
bottle
be. I'm gonna be
on the stream.
popping bottles on the stream, like Kesha, right?
I'm gonna
Popping
get my
bottles.
scarf down. Start get a bit of this. You know,
Yeah, that's right. It was a massive, massive win for the Pride. It's definitely, and I'll be honest with you, that trophy, dude, it's a beautiful trophy.
it's
I
amazing,
saw it up close and personal.
incredible.
It is
You see
incredible,
yourself in it.
dude. It's made out of Tiffany, dude.
Yeah,
Tiffany.
it was an incredible night.
It's a Tiffany. It's a Tiffany trophy, dude.
We'll
It's
talk
like,
a lot about that tomorrow
yeah.
on the Pride Pod. I'm excited.
So tomorrow the Pride Pod, same time, 7:30. Stay safe. That's the one most important thing. If you're in Central Florida or in Florida, period, in the Tampa area, like myself, stay safe. I already got all my shutters up. I already got all my food, all my my gas. I had to fight somebody at Wawa to get some gas. No, it's it's
True
okay.
story, Dan.
Yep, yep. But we're good. We're good. Stay safe. Tune in tomorrow if you got your power. If not, spend time with the family. And again, guys, thank you for watching. And vamos Orlando, guys. Take care.
Vamos, Orlando.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.